Hey guys, I want to let you know that today's video is sponsored by my own small business, You Need a Candles. Today we have our two newest melts available. We have our amazing Return of the Living Dead melt in honor of July 3rd, and we also have our newest slasher melt, Slaughter High, which smells like pumpkin eggnog, and I guarantee you're going to love this. YouNeedACandles.com. Shop today. Hey guys, what's going on? This is your old pal CHH. Just got out of seeing MaXXXine. I feel like has it been a couple years since Pearl came out? I know that Pearl and X were pretty rapid together. It might even been the same year or within a year. Yeah, I was pretty excited to see this one. Actually, that's really not all that true. I don't know what I'm really excited to see this year. Nosferatu, for sure. But I was looking forward to MaXXXine, but I can't say I was, beating the doors down. Not a fault to the movie or anything. It's just, I don't know. I feel like I'm trying to look for something in the movie world now that I just don't know what it is, but I'm hoping it comes to me. Late Night with the Devil was pretty damn close. I love that movie. So, MaXXXine, guys, you know how I roll with my reviews. I like to give it to you right off the top. What I thought, and then I'll break it down. My answer is simple, but it's also a little multifaceted at the same time. I really enjoyed it, but at the same time, I'm going to say this, and I think this is important to say. I don't think this is going to be the fan favorite, and I also don't think it's technically the best one. And I know that kind of sounds weird, but let me explain. So MaXXXine is right smack dab in the middle of the 80s. MaXXXine is trying to become a movie star. She's obviously in the adult film industry trying to cross over. She can't seem to escape the past while trying to move forward to become a movie star. One thing I'll give Ty West credit for, and this was something I was really expecting, not so much worried about, because I feel like Ty West is a guy that, like, leave him be, let him make the movie, and he'll make it feel really cool. I love that it wasn't a sensationalized version of the 80s, the stuff we see online with TikTok and stuff like that. Everything seems so glamorous and lovely. No, Los Angeles in this movie definitely seems like it was crime-ridden, it was pretty seedy, and I loved it. It felt like a pretty authentic experience. There's a character in here that runs a video store, which was really cool. They had the aesthetic for that looking so good. I will give a huge round of applause to Ty West for the soundtrack, because I was worried that, okay, it's going to be 80s. They're probably going to use the most cookie-cutter songs, and I didn't feel that they did. One of my favorite songs in this movie, they actually put in Kim Carnes in here with Betty Davis Eyes, and that's a big song, don't get me wrong. But it's not today's pop culture as much as, I don't know, like Motley Crue. I kind of like a little Motley Crue. You get what my point. Like, there is like 10 or 12 songs that are used with 80s nostalgia today. Betty Davis Eyes is not one of them, and I love that Ty picked that. He put ZZ Top in here. Just a really good selection of songs that he used. So I'll give a bunch of credit to that. So let me talk about, again, this isn't really spoiler free. I don't need to go into too much. Here's what I'll also say. This movie feels in a much bigger scope compared to Pearl and X, right? Because Pearl and X are small movies in terms of there's only a handful of characters in here. That's it. They're in this little world. You feel like it's a very contained thing. You're getting lost in that. Whereas MaXXXine is definitely a bigger production. It does not feel like the previous two movies whatsoever. And I know that Pearl and X kind of had their own identity, but they did feel like they were cut from a similar cloth, especially because of the nature of the setting and everything, and the stories being, they're the same story in the same book, so to speak. But MaXXXine is big. There's extras all over this movie. We've got Kevin Bacon in here. His character was definitely a bit of a comedic character, which is something that I think can turn people off from this movie, is it's dealing with such stringent subject matter with the Night Stalker taking out these girls in the town of or the city of Los Angeles, or Hollywood rather. But his character comes into the movie with this ridiculous funny accent, and he is after MaXXXine, and they have a pretty cool confrontation together at one point. But it's it's hinted with comedy, I think, the way Kevin's character was set up. And I feel like that's actually going to throw people off with this. It does a lot of the stuff that I really enjoy with movies. I love the 80s culture. I love the music. And again, I give Ty West a ton of credit for actually really picking some great songs and not just the typical top 10 cookie cutter song. So again, huge credit to that. He didn't make it seem sensationalized Hollywood. It was dangerous, it was low down, and I love that. Very refreshing. Very, very refreshing. But this movie is not as tightly knit as X or Pearl, and because of that, I don't think this is going to be the fan favorite. I think either one of those two are at the top for being the best. I think most people would probably say, actually I don't know, I think it might be Pearl, but I think X, I rewatched that yesterday before going to see MaXXXine. I do feel like X is a perfectly knit together movie. It's seamless and it's very well contained, whereas MaXXXine is a bigger budgeted thing, and it has hints of a Michael Mann kind of Miami Vice feel to it with the style of the filmmaking. There's a lot of cool colors in here, and it's shot on a grander scale. So the fans of Pearl and X, I don't think, are actually going to look at this one as favorable. Now, it looks like the reviews are still good, but very different feel from the previous two. Very different feel. So, but for me, it's my favorite, even though I don't think it's the best done film out of the three. And, I'm not even going to get into the story because it's really not necessary. I'll just say, it's a mystery as to what's going on, and like a lot of stuff, you can figure it out fairly easily. But none of that stuff typically matters to me, because for me, especially when it's a mystery kind of movie, it's like, okay, finding out who it is in the first watch is fine, but what's the replay value? Especially being a physical media collector, that's a big thing, is what's the replay value? So with all that being said, guys, I'm going to give MaXXXine probably 4 stars, where I would probably give X or Pearl 4.5 to 5 for either one. I'd have to really sit down and think about it. But in terms of the style, the look, the sound, I enjoyed this one so much. It's my favorite. But I think I can admit that as a film, you could look at Pearl or X as being a better packaged deal. That's where I'm at with it, guys. I don't think this is my favorite movie of the year. I still think it's Late Night with the Devil, but MaXXXine was great. I thought Mia was lovely in this as the rest of the movie, so no complaints with Mia at all. But that's where it's at, guys. I'm interested to see how people look at this one. I don't think it's going to be looked at as the fan favorite by a lot of people, and I totally get that, even though for me, the aesthetic, the sound, the look, this was my bread and butter, even with the little hints of comedy. I love all that. That's what I love. So I felt like the movie was kind of made specifically for me, as weird as that sounds, which is always a blessing when you find a movie that you feel has that kind of atmosphere. So there it is, guys. I'm excited to see what you guys think about MaXXXine. Please let me know down below. This was a free-flowing review. I'm going to try not to edit too much of this so you just get my natural thoughts. But for now, this is your old pal CHH saying take care, and I'll see you guys next time. Huge, giant thank you to all of my Patreon supporters. Without you guys, this would not be possible. To get behind-the-scenes photos, videos, music, private live streams, and much more, you can subscribe to my Patreon for as little as $1 a month. Thank you to my patrons.